You are listening to the Health and Wellness Podcast, curated by Dr. Lori Marzell. Dr. Marzell is a primary care physician and a certified menopause practitioner that combines the wisdom of natural medicine with modern medicine to help maintain optimal health. She has a special focus in food allergies and bioidentical hormone replacement. Thank you so much for being here. Enjoy the show.
Hi, this is Dr. Marzell. Still talking about food allergies for our podcast now. And I left off talking about how you could neutralize food allergy reaction. And today I want to talk about how you can be tested to see if you do have a food allergy reaction. Now, the type of testing I do, I'm not an allergist, and I'm not looking for severe IgE-mediated reactions. But for a food allergen that I'm looking for that's sneakier, but nevertheless can certainly cause problems with and cause inflammation, pain syndromes, difficulty with thinking, mood problems, all kinds of strange disorders, would be to test for an IgG level of inflammation. So what we do in tests like that is we take a blood sample, and it is the white blood cells are separated and they're put into different discs that are labeled for different foods. And the lab that I use has been doing this for probably 50 years, and they really know what they're doing. They check if you have a radioisotope labeled disc, for instance, and your body doesn't like that particular food disc, it will make antibodies that hook onto that, and so you can count how many antibodies are produced. This particular lab bar graphs out the reactions, and it's kind of hard to argue that when you look at a person's diet and it's, there's a little bit of reaction here and there and here and there, and all of a sudden you have one where the bar graph is almost off the page. That it's kind of hard to say, well, that's a nourishing thing that you should continue to eat. It's usually not. It's usually one of the things you should pay attention to. So this test can be, it's a simple test. It's not particularly expensive. It's easy to do, and it can provide a lot of information. I wanted to talk about one of the first cases that I treated when I came back from training with a doctor who had set up this type of testing. And this was in regards to a 5-year-old boy. We'll call him Johnny. And he was having chronic problems. He tried to get to kindergarten 3 times. He was about 6 years old when I saw him. Every year he was disruptive, or he couldn't stay awake, or there were some problems. And the teacher would finally, after a few days, call the parents and ask them to pick him up, and that he just wasn't ready, wasn't mature enough to start kindergarten yet. Now, he had other problems as well. This was a child that just could not sit still. He couldn't concentrate. He had problems with bedwetting. By the way, bedwetting can occur even in adults. I had a 25-year-old man that was having bedwetting and found out he was allergic to dairy. He took the dairy out of his diet. Guess what? Went away. It's very interesting. Anyways, this particular child also had a kind of a rare skin disorder, bullous impetigo, which is like blisters that are related to an infection. But he would break out with these periodically, and it was unusual. No one could figure out why he was breaking out in that. Um, he was treated with antibiotics, and that helped, but it kept coming back. It was particularly worrisome when he went to visit his aunt. His aunt, I think a lot of people do this with children. If you find something they enjoy eating, you like to give them a lot of that, especially when they're visiting, and you want them to be happy. So his favorite food was peanut butter and jelly sandwiches made, consumed with a large glass of milk. We tested this child and found that he was allergic to peanuts. He didn't have the severe reaction to peanuts, but he was allergic, and he was allergic to dairy, and he was allergic to wheat. So I worked with the parents to eliminate those major foods and substitute others. And within 5 days, this child turned into someone who was just chronically humming and couldn't sit still, couldn't concentrate, couldn't do anything. It was just awful. To someone who was quietly sitting there playing with his trucks, wasn't humming and making noise all the time. I looked at his coloring book when I was talking to him, and he was just taking crayons with his fists and smearing them all over, and he was old enough to draw carefully. Well, I found all these pictures that were carefully drawn within the lines of the pictures, and I asked him who was using his coloring book. He told me he was. It was that different for within just a few days of diet change. So I had another case of a child who was children and adults who are sick frequently often have food allergies. This one case was a child that, and when they are repeating grades because they're just not getting it or they can't concentrate, and this is other clues that something's wrong. I tested this one child and changed their diet around. Their mom came up the stairs one day because it was very quiet upstairs where the child was. That was unusual. She came up and peeked into his bedroom, and he was sitting there reading a book. She'd never seen him do this before. He was just quietly reading. He got everything that he was reading. It wasn't just, turning pages or something. And she was amazed. And the other benefit of testing for food allergies is people are healthier. If they want to lose weight, they can lose weight better, easier. If they have chronic arthritis or chronic inflammation, it can clear up markedly. I had one case of a woman who had an unusual bone disorder, and she had chronic bone pain. And not too many people knew what to do for this. There was no cure. And I didn't know what else to do, and so I tested her for food allergies. She did have some food allergies. So we changed her diet around and took out the food allergens. Her pain within a few days decreased 50%. It didn't totally go away. It didn't resolve the thing that she had, but it was markedly better by taking away some of the burden the body is dealing with. This is an important problem that people are just not paying attention to, and I am glad to share this information with you. and hope that you will seek more information. And thank you for listening.
Thank you so much for listening. If you learned something, don't forget to share with a friend. You can visit us at www.drmarzell.com. We create content for you. If there's a subject we have not discussed or a topic you want to dive deeper into, let us know how we can empower you. Questions can be submitted on our website under the podcast page. Until next time.